Last night, my own voice called to me from beneath the floor. I haven't slept in 4 days. I'm sitting in an armchair in the middle of my living room, back against the wall, staring at the door to the basement. It's locked, but I can hear something down there. Slow, methodical knocking against the concrete from the inside. Exactly 1.4 seconds between each strike. I know that rhythm. I heard it 35 years ago, 12 kilometers beneath the surface of the Earth. I thought I had left it there forever. I was wrong. My name is Alexei, and before I tell you what is happening now, you need to understand what happened then. In 1989, at the Kolaasuperdeepborehole. If you search for it online, you'll find the dry facts. A Soviet project begun in 1970 in the far north of the Murmansk region. A depth of 12,262 meters, deeper than the Mariana Trench, higher than commercial aircraft fly. Water found at 7 kilometers, where no water should have been. Fossilized microorganisms locked inside solid granite. And of course, you'll find the urban legend. The well to hell. The story of how the drill broke through into a void and a microphone lowered into the shaft recorded the screams of millions of tormented souls. It's a beautiful story. A convenient horror tale, easy to debunk. They created that myth deliberately, a perfect smokescreen. Because what we actually found at 12 kilometers depth was so much worse than screaming. Screaming is a human expression of pain. Screaming can be understood. What we found felt no pain. It was simply waiting. In 1989, I was a junior acoustic engineer on the SG-3 team. My job wasn't drilling. I was responsible for the seismoacoustic probes we lowered into the shaft. We listened to the Earth. We listened to rock fracturing, tectonic plates shifting, granite breathing under pressures measured in thousands of atmospheres. Life at a drilling station in the Arctic was brutal. The polar night lasted for months, turning every day into an endless procession of gray twilight and impenetrable darkness. The station was a complex of massive concrete buildings, above which rose an enormous drilling derrick, like a rocket, ready to launch not into space, but into the underworld. Wind howled through the steel framework. Snow buried the roads, cutting us off from civilization. We were isolated, locked in this frozen purgatory, together with our obsession for depth. But despite the cold and the isolation, we felt like explorers. We were cosmonauts, only we flew not upward, but down. Every new meter was a battle. Drill bits melted, snapped, jammed. At those depths, granite stopped being solid. It became plastic, almost alive, slowly constricting the borehole as if trying to close a wound. My instrument room was in the basement of the main building, a cramped space crowded with oscilloscopes and reel-to-reel recorders. The air always smelled of ozone and hot electronics. I spent 12 hours a day there, listening to the white noise of the lithosphere. The sounds of the Earth at that depth are like nothing else. A low-frequency, visceral rumble that vibrates in your bones. I loved that sound. It felt like a heartbeat, like the planet was alive. I had no idea how right I was. It began in October. We had just broken through a new geological layer, an anomalous zone the geologists had been arguing about for weeks. The rock composition didn't match any known model. The temperature readings were wrong. Everything was wrong. That night, I was alone in the instrument room, running a routine acoustic survey. The reel-to-reel was spinning, the oscilloscope tracing its familiar green lines across the screen. And then I heard it. Among the geological noise, the grinding of rock, the distant rumble of tectonic stress, there was a rhythm. Not random, not mechanical. A rhythm with intention. 1.4 seconds. 1.4 seconds. 1.4 seconds. I checked the equipment. Everything was functioning normally. I checked the drill. It had been shut down for the night. There was nothing at that depth that could produce a rhythmic signal. Nothing natural. I called Dmitry Nikolaevich, our senior geophysicist. He arrived in 10 minutes, still in his coat, hair disheveled. He listened. His face went through several expressions I had never seen on him before. Confusion, disbelief, and then something that looked very much like fear.
"That's not geological noise,"
he said. "The sound is coming from below the rock formation, from beneath it." He paused.
"Something is down there, below us."
We spent the rest of the night recording. By morning, we had 6 hours of material. The rhythm never broke, never accelerated, never slowed. 1.4 seconds. Precise as a metronome. Precise as a heartbeat. Over the following weeks, the rhythm changed. It didn't disappear. It evolved. New frequencies layered on top of the original signal. The oscilloscope began tracing patterns I had never seen in 15 years of acoustic work. Complex, nested, almost structured. Dmitry Nikolaevich stopped sleeping. He spent entire days in my instrument room, filling notebook after notebook with equations and diagrams. He became obsessed. We all did to varying degrees, but in him, the obsession burned brightest.
"It's a language,"
he told me one night, not looking up from his notebook.
"I don't know whose. I don't know what it's saying, but it's a language."
The night of November the 3rd, I was alone again. The rhythm had been growing stronger for days. Not louder, exactly, but more present, more insistent, as if whatever was down there had noticed we were listening. I put on the headphones and lowered the probe to maximum depth. The signal was clearer than ever. I closed my eyes and tried to find the pattern, the way Dmitry Nikolaevich had taught me. And then the rhythm stopped. Complete silence. Not the white noise of rock, not geological rumble. Silence. And then, through the headphones, I heard a dry, rustling sound, like many voices speaking at once, just below the threshold of comprehension. And then, clearly, distinctly, my own voice. Speaking to me in my own voice, with my own intonation, my own accent. "Come down." I ripped off the headphones and knocked over my chair. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel my pulse in my temples. The room was empty. Just me and the quietly humming equipment. With shaking hands, I rewound the tape. It had to be a hallucination. Exhaustion, stress, the endless polar night. From the speakers came a dry rustle of many voices, then sharp silence. And my own voice, distorted by interference, said, "Come down." The recording wasn't lying. I erased that fragment and replaced it with white noise. Didn't sleep for the next 2 days. Told no one. But something had changed in me that night. A sick, obsessive fixation chained me to that borehole. I had to know what was down there. I sat for hours before the dead console, waiting for my voice to call again. It didn't call. Instead, others came. On the 18th of November, men in civilian clothes arrived at the station. 2 black helicopters, despite the approaching blizzard. Identical grey coats, identical frozen expressions. KGB. They moved quickly, seized all recordings, all logs, all hard drives, dismantled the equipment in my instrument room, ripping cables from the walls, gathered us in the canteen, 30 exhausted, frightened people, and made us sign non-disclosure documents of the highest classification. Dmitry Nikolaevich tried to object. He jumped to his feet, face burning with anger, shouting that we stood on the threshold of the greatest discovery in human history, that we couldn't simply abandon 12 kilometers of work and fill it all with concrete. One of the agents walked up to him and said something quietly. I didn't catch the words, but Dmitry Nikolaevich's face went gray instantly. All his anger evaporated, leaving only deep, paralyzing fear. He slowly lowered himself back into his chair and didn't say another word until we departed. I never found out what they told him. They evacuated us within 24 hours. The borehole was sealed. A massive steel plug was welded to the shaft opening, secured with 12 enormous bolts. I saw it from the helicopter window as we lifted off. They were sealing it the way you seal something that is trying to get out. Officially, the project was closed due to lack of funding after the collapse of the Soviet Union. But I know the truth. They were afraid. They understood that we had drilled into something that should never have been disturbed, and that a steel plug with 12 bolts was not a solution. It was a gesture of despair. Years passed. I left Russia, changed professions, tried to forget, moved to America, married, divorced. Told myself it had all been mass hysteria, imagination run wild from months of polar darkness. Almost believed it. Almost. Because a month ago, in the basement of my house in Seattle, I heard the rhythm again. Knock, knock, knock. Exactly 1.4 seconds. I pressed my ear to the cold concrete. The rhythm stopped. And then, from beneath the floor, through meters of earth and concrete, came a dry, rustling whisper. They didn't stay there at the Kola borehole. We broke open their prison. They are rising, slowly, through solid rock, through mantle and crust. They don't need tunnels. They don't need doors. They only need those who once heard them. Those who became their beacons. I'm writing this because I don't know how much time I have left. The knocking beneath the house grows louder every day. Last night, my own voice called to me from the drain pipe in the bathroom. I remember the last night before the evacuation. standing outside, looking up at the drilling derrick. The blizzard had already begun, snowflakes striking my face like tiny sharp needles. The derrick towered above me, black and silent, like a monument to our arrogance. We thought we could conquer nature, break through it, and drag its secrets into the light. But we were only children, poking a stick into an anthill. And now the inhabitants of that anthill have woken up. One of the KGB agents came up behind me.
Time to go.
He said, his voice flat and empty. The helicopter is waiting. I turned and looked at him. His eyes held no fear, no doubt, only the cold resolve of a man following orders. I wondered if he knew what they were trying to seal, whether he understood that a steel plug wouldn't hold something that has no physical body. "Do you think this will help?" I shouted at him through the wind. "Do you think you can just close the door and walk away?" The agent said nothing. When the helicopter lifted off, I pressed my forehead against the glass. The SG-3 station shrank rapidly, becoming a tiny point of light in the middle of a vast white wasteland. Then it disappeared into a wall of snow. I thought it was over. How wrong I was. It's 3 a.m. now. I'm sitting in my armchair staring at the door to the basement. The knocking hasn't stopped for 6 hours. Now it's faster, the interval less than a second. They're accelerating. I don't know what will happen when the rhythm reaches 0, when the strikes merge into one continuous sound. But I'm beginning to understand that I'll find out soon. If you're listening to this, stop. Right now. Turn off the music, close the windows, and press your ear to the floor. Do you hear anything? If not, they haven't reached you yet. If you do, don't open the door to the basement.